Welcome to the Revolutionary CEO podcast. I'm your host, Letitia Lynch, adaptable marketing strategist, boy mom, and CEO who believes in making marketing work for you. When I've been sharing how you can attract daily leads to your inbox, website, and DMs, which also includes applications, contact forms, and discovery calls without launching or posting daily content, I think you heard that and thought, damn, that must be nice for whoever the hell she's talking to, because I know that's not me. Not until I have at least X, Y, and Z number of followers on Instagram or TikTok, grow my email list subscribers more because it's too small right now, start getting more traffic to my website, grow my visibility first. Even though episode 64 told you how you don't need to market daily to build leads or sales momentum as long as you have a lead generation system set up, and episode 63 reassured you that you can in fact attract enough leads to sell to without posting content every day through lead magnets. Yes, both episodes explain how and why those things work, give you services and resources I have to offer to help you build them out, and are linked in the show notes. But this episode is about reprogramming this belief that is clearly still in your head because you, yes you, the relationship coach with 300 followers on Instagram, the VA who only gets 5 likes on LinkedIn posts, the designer who has 100 email subscribers, the accountant who doesn't really want to use social media to market her services, can in fact attract daily leads to your inbox, website, and DMs, which also includes, again, the applications, contact forms, and discovery calls without launching or posting daily content. It's funny because when I first created the Lead Overflow Challenge, I already knew this was possible because I had been doing it after years of launching and enjoying the daily post, but then suddenly not having the energy and sometimes not the capacity, mostly just the mental capacity to do it anymore. Where I would once feel lazy and like a failure for not going, I noticed something. I was still booking clients for things at all price points. My CMO dashboard would sell out of nowhere. Though it wasn't actually out of nowhere, I just wasn't actually checking where the sales were coming from because before I knew, it was the launch I was in the middle of and all the content. Whereas now I'm discovering that the sales are coming from YouTube videos I recorded months ago or even over a year ago. Or the discovery call would suddenly be on my calendar with an unfamiliar name, whereas before, all the leads were people who were showing up to my lives, liking and commenting on all my posts. I'd get a DM from an unfamiliar name directly asking about a service by name that I wasn't even selling or promoting, but clearly they'd been on my website. This was the light bulb moment, as corny as it sounds. This is where the marketing person started actually looking at her own data, and what I discovered was I had quite a bit of traffic to not just my website every single day, but specifically to my services page, the sales page for my offers I wasn't even talking about, my lead magnets I haven't been promoting for years. I went down a Google Analytics rabbit hole and saw that traffic would come from Google search, though I hadn't blogged, and quite frankly, the blog posts weren't relevant anymore since my services had changed. Instagram, of course, because that's where I market. Threads, because that's where I market. YouTube, which I actually rarely posted content on. Podcast episodes from months ago. Pinterest pins that, again, I barely pin. And my email sequences, most of which were automated, and many of which are actually newsletters that I send once a week. So the challenge that I so confidently created was because I know daily leads are possible for you too. You just haven't had anyone take the time to help you choose a marketing schedule you can actually stick with, give you the right frameworks to make content that works well long term so your old YouTube videos, blog posts or podcast episodes, emails you barely have to send, and social media posts, however many or few you can commit to, will in fact still bring leads that matter most without the launching or daily posting. The challenge is, of course, linked in the show notes, or just go to leadoverflowchallenge.com to get your ticket because we start on Monday. But even if you miss this one, the next one is already scheduled. But even with me sharing my story, you're still thinking, but you have content on your podcast. You have old YouTube videos, Pinterest pins you've forgotten about, blog posts that are outdated. At least those exist, and you haven't ghosted your social media accounts because you aren't being ignored when you post, Letitia. It's because I'm out of the metaphorical matrix, boo. And by the end of this episode, you will be too. That metaphor would also make sense if you, in fact, watch The Matrix, just so you know. What I'm actually saying is, for years, you've been programmed to believe that leads equal sales, which means when you market, i.e. post content, if the outcome isn't a booked call or an application that's completed and directly makes a sale, you feel like it was a waste of time. This is something I'll be reprogramming first, but I want to share the other things that are on my list as well. The second thing is that you need a lot of content to attract enough leads to hit your sales goals every month, which is why you're out here draining yourself with all these ridiculous content calendars. And I know you're doing it because you're obviously a hard worker and you've been given a strategy that program that you're in is teaching you, or some content strategist gave you a schedule that worked when you were in a different headspace or a capacity threshold, but that moment is over and now you can't keep up. But of course you're trapped because you need the money. So let's talk about it and reprogram this once and for all. So starting with the reprogramming of your belief that leads equal sales. You've been basically subliminally programmed to equate leads with sales and sales as the success marker for marketing activities. So that's the only thing that motivates you to do the marketing work you do, which is why you don't pay attention to important things like people visiting your sales pages. You only care if when they visit, they book your service or purchase whatever your conversion is for that offer. So you don't count people getting on your email list, sliding into your DMs, booking calls, filling out applications, visiting your sales page or the lead magnet page itself. You're only counting coins. The problem with that is that way of thinking is the less sales you make from the marketing efforts, the less motivated you are to do the work that produces the actions that actually lead to sales, especially the kind of sales that require less of your involvement. The sales in your sleep kind of sales actually come from people on your email list. People get on your email list after what? Visiting your lead magnet page. So you'd want to know that people are actually visiting that page and you should be celebrating it, right? But you'd also want them to visit it on their own and not always because you're actively posting content about it today and every day, right? So you need a system in place already, or I don't know, some kind of amazing marketing person who has a challenge that can help you start setting it up now. So a month from now, that will actually be the case. And maybe that same person even has a membership that will help you set up, customize, and run the full system every month. So you might want to make sure you look at the link in the show notes because it's all starting to hopefully make sense. But seriously, you want the leads and sales to seemingly come out of nowhere, but in reality come from things like you did months ago or even a year ago, not always from something you had to do today. Then you got to start remembering that leads equal people to sell to. And depending on where those leads end up, whether it's your email list versus a call, the sale can even happen in your sleep. So you want them to have the opportunity to be able to end up in multiple places and not on your social media account because that's the only place you actually keep up with your content. But that's obviously another conversation for another day. I'm not going to talk about that today, but just keep that in mind. So that's the first thing I wanted to reprogram. Now let's reprogram the fact that you've been told you need a lot of content to attract enough leads to hit your sales goals every month. Obviously, yes, the more leads you have, the more opportunities you have to sell. This is clearly a fact that has so many holes in it. It's giving Swiss cheese. But what this has also done is train you to just aim for more numbers without addressing the people who are literally already in the room. And I mean existing followers and subscribers who showed interest but just haven't converted, that you don't ever email, you don't ever sell to because your content hardly ever has a call to action to book, to buy, to DM, or even to work with you because you don't want to come off as salesy, and you never build relationships with them because despite depending on social media for all of your leads and sales, you aren't actually social on there, when in reality, connections lead to conversations and conversations lead to conversions. And the biggest problem that I have with this whole post more content if you need more leads notion is that nobody will tell you, but I'm definitely going to tell you today, is that this also allows you to keep having issues with things like your messaging and copy, your website, your sales strategy and sales approach, and your client experience. All because they've convinced you to just find more people. So here you go, posting, and it still doesn't work. They hit the like button, but not the checkout button. They visit the website, but they leave after 10 seconds of being on your sales page. You got 300 page visitors with 0 conversions and 0 inquiries. You've worked with 20 clients in the last year, but not one returned or referred you to a new client. You've got countless DMs from your content, but none of them led to sales. And they're trying to convince you that you have a content volume problem? Give me a fucking break, dude. That doesn't make sense. And it's never the amount of content, not for people like us who selling high ticket. It really never is. And I hate to say never because, I mean, obviously it's never a never say never situation, because if you're posting 0 social media posts and you're also avoiding interactions on social media, you have a poor profile set up, you're doing 0 long form content, you have no thought leadership, no lead magnet, or at least a newsletter, you have no website, no internet presence for people to at least conduct their own research, then yeah, you have a content problem, and you will also have 0 leads for the month, and you're definitely not going to get the daily leads that I'm talking about. But my guess is that is not your case. My guess is you've already been overproducing content and you still aren't hitting your goals, which is why I'm still trying to convince you to come to my literally $47 lead overflow challenge, promising you daily leads without the launching or the daily posts that you are already doing. Because the reality is, the reframe is it's actually cheaper to retain clients you've already worked with, which is everything to do with your client experience and selling, not posting more content. And it's faster to convert leads that already know you, like the 300 followers, the 100 email subscribers, and the 200 website visitors that keep returning to your website every month, which has everything to do with your messaging, your copy, your sales strategy or your sales process, and your website, not posting more content. Could you post more content? Sure, yeah. But do you actually need to increase the volume? No. Not unless, again, you're posting 0 social media posts or avoiding social interactions. You have a crappy profile set up. You don't do any long form content. You ain't got no thought leadership. You ain't got no lead magnet, no newsletter. You ain't got no website. People can't stalk you. Yeah, you need some content. But I know that's not the case. But I can bet you do need to change what you're posting in the content you're actually spending your time on, especially if you've been spending more time on those 20-second reels, pointing to the caption, you making them clickbait threads, you posting them educational carousels on LinkedIn, and that's your strategy, like them people keep telling you to do. So the Lead Overflow Challenge, I just want to share something with you, actually spends the middle 3 days, it's 5 days total, but the middle 3 days actually spends time giving you high converting content strategies and content flows for the long form content channel of your choice, whether you chose blogging, podcasting, YouTube, live videos, whatever it is, email and social media channel of your choice, of course, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, I don't care, whatever you choose. Because this way, instead of me convincing you to post more and more content, I'm just ensuring that whatever you post, wherever you post the content, and however often you post and you can realistically commit to, that it is actually worth your time, because it will drive leads to your sales or lead magnet pages, your DMs, the applications, people booking your discovery calls, and getting on that email list from the content that you actively posted today, this week, a month ago, or even a year ago. So to recap, this episode answered the question, are daily leads possible even without a big audience or existing visibility? And the answer is yes, but with an asterisk. First, you're currently overlooking leads because you're only counting the ones that turn into sales. So now, hopefully, you understand that leads don't actually equal sales, but instead leads are people to sell to. And you already have people to sell to. You just need to find where you're losing the sale and fix each area one by one to increase sales right now, who you already have. It's 100 or 100,000 with your existing small or modest audience that you already have. And then lastly, build your lead generation system that works at a manageable pace so that the leads can come in every day without needing to come from active marketing content, and they can convert without you actively having to always be involved in the sale. And to get started building your lead generation system so you can attract the daily leads without launching or posting daily content, even without a big audience or existing visibility, get your ticket for the Lead Overflow Challenge at the link in the show notes, leadoverflowchallenge.com, or the Substack article. See you next time. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to the Revolutionary CEO podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform and leave a review to let me know the moments you enjoyed most. Substackers, Spotify users, and YouTubers, leave me a comment with your biggest takeaway or questions from the episode. And be sure to connect with me on Instagram, YouTube, or Threads. I'm always at Her Marketing Coach. Talk to you next week.